Hey guys, apologies first off for not doing a proper video review this week. Basically I have no camera over the weekend. It's been borrowed by my dad, so I figured I'd do an audio review because it was a bit late sort of to ask anyone to cover me. But yeah, this week I'm going to be reviewing the movie Gone Baby Gone, which stars Casey Affleck, Morgan Freeman, Ed Harris and Michelle Monaghan. Now I know some of the guys who are on the Real DVD Watchers discussed this movie in a podcast they did, but I thought I'd do my own sort of thoughts and stuff on the movie. Basically because I loved it. I thought it was really great. I thought it was a very well written, well directed movie that looked good and had some really great acting in it. It's based on a novel by the same author who did Mystic River. Now I haven't seen that movie, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. It's definitely a movie I want to check out. But the movie itself, I won't go into too much detail about, but basically it's about the disappearance of this little girl, and Casey Affleck, who obviously is the brother of Ben Affleck, who directs the movie, he plays this guy who's kind of a detective for hire, I guess. He and his wife actually work together to try and find this girl along with the police, and they go through all these sort of different leads and things to try and find this mysterious little girl that's disappeared. Now the movie does go on from there and become a lot more complicated, and I don't want to kind of talk too much about the plot because a lot of the great parts of this movie is that it has a lot of twists and turns and things, and I don't want to spoil them in this review, so I figured I'd kind of ease off the plot too much. But to give you a basic idea, it is about them trying to find this little girl at the beginning. The movie itself is kind of a detective sort of thriller. Casey Affleck is kind of the leading role in this movie, and he does a really great job doing that. He's a really great actor, and if you've seen him in like Jesse James, and he's been in a couple of other films, if you've seen him in some of those things, you'll know that he is a pretty good actor, and he does a great job carrying this movie. But one actor who does kind of steals the scenes from him in a way is Ed Harris. He plays this cop who is kind of, in a way, I guess, overshadows Casey Affleck's character in that he kind of is I don't want to say a role model, but he offers him a lot of advice, and he gets his character thinking a lot. A lot of this movie not only has the characters thinking, but it gives you the opportunity as the audience to kind of consider the choices that are made in the movie as well. One choice in particular, which comes up at the end of the movie, is one that has stayed with me since I've watched it. You might be the same way. You kind of there's a very obvious choice at the end of the movie, which the main character has to make, and you kind of will find yourself wondering if you're in the same position which choice you would make, because there's no real right or wrong answer. It's all down to opinion and what you think is morally correct, and I like that idea that it kind of asks that of you as an audience whilst you're watching it. The direction in the movie is something I wanted to get back to. It's directed, like I said, by Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is an actor that, you know, he's been in some hit and miss movies, but as a director he is really great. He's got a very good style. This is a very good showcase, I think, of what he's got to offer as a director. He does a really great job, and you know, I'd like to see him behind the camera more than in front of it, I think, in the future, and perhaps, you know, let his brother take over as an actor. But it is really good, solid direction from Ben Affleck, and it's also got a really great pace to it as well. It's a very, not a necessarily fast-paced movie, but it's just got the right sort of pace. It kind of slows down in places, then builds up again. It's a very tense movie. It works very well as a thriller, and there are some things about this movie that people won't like, and that is kind of the stops and starts that has it in the movie. Basically, the movie kind of there's several points in the movie where it kind of comes to what you feel is a climax. It kind of builds up and then comes to what feels like an end, and then just builds up again. And some people may be put off by that in a way. You kind of come to like what you think is like a resolution, you know, the case has been resolved, and then suddenly there'll be another twist and it will get going again. And it happens several times in the movie. It wasn't necessarily something that put me off, but it may put off other people wanting to watch this movie. It's not necessarily a long film, but the whole, you know, method of kind of unwinding and going down to what feels like an ending, and then suddenly, you know, having this twist and carrying on again, some people may not like, but I personally thought it was fine. The rest of the cast, aside from Casey Affleck and Ed Harris, Morgan Freeman, who, you know, is kind of a big name, who you'd expect to have quite a big role in a movie. He's not really in it that much. He kind of has a few select scenes. That's about it. I mean, it's hard. There's not that many things to say that are wrong with this movie because it's really good. There's not that many negative points. It has a lot of plus points, which may not be that easy to pick out because it's just a really great movie. It's something that I would recommend to everyone. It's definitely one I think a lot of the people on the Real DVD Watchers would also agree with me that it is one that you should definitely check out if you haven't seen it. It's a really great movie, and I highly recommend it. So that is it. Sorry about the short review this week again. I apologise that there's no video, proper video or anything. Hopefully next week it should be back. Well, definitely next week it'll be back to normal. I already know what I'm going to review, so I can reveal that now. I'm going to be reviewing City of God and the sequel City of Men. Yeah, that's basically what I'm going to review next week. Back to normal next week. No more audio reviews or anything like that. I apologise for this week's audio review, and I will catch you guys next week. So thank you for watching.